So I was just going to talk a little bit about Jackson Jobe and his mechanics, a little bit of pre-game um, ritual and what that does for him. Let me take you to the other page here. I just wanted to show you quickly before I slow it down here what we're talking about. This is it right here. This is the movement. Boom. What I like is that you can tell that it's a very presentable hop. He's kind of jumping. You call this like a step behind, a little step behind throw. Um, a lot of times when people do these, they feel their toe hit the ground first, right? As you see here. But the hop that he does where he gets the ground, gains ground up, allows him to really sit back on that whole foot flush to the ground. If he's just taking a little step behind, you'll probably see his back foot um, altered significantly. It would probably be angled more so like this way, and you'd see more pressure like through his toe. So that's what we're trying to avoid, and Jackson Jobe does a very good job. Um, with his step behind, feeling the ground to get downhill. And it's important to stay connected here because it keeps us connected throughout the delivery. Connected, connected. And if we're disconnected, our hips aren't going to be able to rotate efficiently. If we get disconnected, we're going to have a difficult time lead leg blocking. You can see Jobe does a pretty good job. We want that leg to be really pretty straight at release. He's really pretty close to that. He's about 95, 96 miles an hour, I believe. The people who throw like 100 miles an hour plus, for the most part, there are guys that you definitely will see that don't do this, but there you'll see like at release. Let me see if I can get right to release. Like, boom, their front leg will be like hyperextended. Like you'll see their knee back here, and it's almost like a bow this way. And that's why hamstring flexibility is extremely important for what we're trying to do as well. If we cannot move in our hamstring here, then it's going to make it difficult for us to block out. This movement right here really does a lot for him to help him feel what he's trying to feel. This is something he does probably every time, first couple throws, just to help himself feel the ground and feel himself get downhill with a little bit of extra momentum while staying connected. If you're on your toe here, it's going to become like much easier for us to get disconnected, which means like this leg as it goes into hip rotation is never really straight. You'll see guys like get to this position early in their delivery because they're toe dominant. And then what that does is it's just going to make us very inconsistent throughout the rest of our mechanics. And I think like this is sort of like what he's doing here can be really, really good for pitchers if they do it the right way. But if you do it kind of like undisciplined, lazily, it could also be harmful. Like most things in this sport, we need to carry a very high level of discipline And he doesn't really get great layback here. I mean, this might be a little early. That's not bad, but it's not great. Um, you could tell that he's a guy that uses his direction very well, and that's how he can stay consistent and a high velocity thrower. This is what he's trying to feel again here. I've talked about this before. Actually, I don't need that. I just want my knee over my ankle right here. That's kind of what we're going for. It's it can be bad if our knee gets out here. If our knee gets out here, you're going to apply more pressure onto the toe. Just think about what happens, right? As you press your knee out further over your toe, where does your body weight start to shift? It starts to shift onto your toes, right onto the balls of your feet. We want to stay through the center of our foot, right? This is where we're strong. This is like our body's natural strength position when we're squatting, deadlifting, any type of leg exercise for the most part. Our knee is going to be stacked above our ankle for strength purposes. Um, Once we get onto the toe, it promotes sort of athleticism. My dog just knocking on the door here. Um, there he goes. My dog's name's Tatum, after Jason Tatum. We got him after the Celtics won the championship, so his name was originally Tatum. Came from a litter where they were all named after like Celtics from this championship run. Pretty cool. He's a good dog. I'll get him in here sometime. Not today though. But yeah, this right here calls for a loaded hip. You can see because his ankle is under his knee, his hip is countered in his front. Like his hips are countered towards the target, right? Loaded back hip. That is a loaded pinned hip right there. And that is a product of what he's doing down here, right? If we're trying to build a house, we work from the ground up, strong foundation, following up, and then, oops. And once we check that box, we can start to look at other stuff down the line, excluding the arm. The arm is normally the first thing that we look at. And right here, it's maybe just a hair late. Clearly not the biggest deal for Jackson Jobe. I mean, obviously, our mechanics are not going to be perfectly repeatable over and over and over and over again throughout the course of a game. So we need to be adjustable. The best athletes can compete when they don't have their best stuff, when things aren't necessarily clicking. Being adjustable makes your misses smaller. If you can become a more athletic thrower, you will miss in smaller margins because your body will know how to adapt naturally. And that's kind of the goal in a lot of the training that I do is I'll create different positions, different types of throws, and I'll describe what the throw is prescribed for particularly, and the benefits that might come with it. And then I tell them like, this is a good throw for you. This is something that you could do anytime you play catch, anytime you're about to pitch, whatever. Like mix in a couple of these throws. This is a good movement for you, and it'll help keep you right when it's time to compete. And something I also kind of happens with the countered hip a little bit here is like I'll see some people, they have a pretty good understanding of what they're doing back here in their drive leg, knee over toe, or I mean knee over ankle, hinge in the back hip right here. But what will still maybe happen is their foot will kind of like open early, where Jobe does a really good job of like closing off that front foot, keeping that front hip closed. So kind of like leading with your heel towards the catcher um, is another pretty decent cue. It's not going to clean everything up back here, but it definitely might help. Um, but if if you're somebody who is feels like they get into this position, but they're still not, you know, reaching their max potential velocity wise, right? Um, like cocking this front foot back a little bit will help you get just a little bit extra loaded back here. And it'll also help you stay consistent and repetitive um, within, uh, expectancies, because it's not going to be exactly repetitive every time, but it's going to keep you within the margins of performance. I think that's all I got about Jackson Jobe today. Just had his debut last night with the Tigers, number one MLB pitching prospect, um, and he steps on the mound for the first time and does a little variation of step behind that I call. So, and this is something that helps him feel the ground and get down the mound before it's time to compete. Thank you guys.